Good evening, everybody. Once again, this is the UFC 155 post-fight recap with Bear Thunder Heart. And tonight, oh my goodness, wow, what a way to close out the year of 2012, to being the last UFC pay-per-view of this year, before the new year coming. So before I continue, I just want to wish everybody an early Happy New Year. So, Happy New Year 2013. But before I go any further than that, I'm of course going to stick to tonight's topic, which is of course UFC 155. Of course, there were some matches that got booed, even those the better fighter won with technicalities and was very technical, but at the same time and strategically won. At the same time, there are some fights that were more exciting than others, and there was even some blood that was involved. There was a lot of, hard what that happened, especially in the last two fights, and I'm going to explain that later. But for right now, let me run down the card. The card, like I said, overall is pretty good. I will have to say for the last pay-per-view of the year, not all of them delivered according to all the people, but I felt that majority of them delivered. So that's what I felt. In the event, let me get down to it. So here we go. Cariaso versus John Moraga. And the winner is John Moraga via a submission with a guillotine choke, and that made submission of the night. So congratulations, John Moraga. And that was a Facebook fight. Like I said, one of the fights I didn't get to see, but I was able to at least through the reviews of the submission tonight, I got the chance to see how John Moraga won that fight. So congratulations, John Moraga, on your submission tonight victory. And Leonard Garcia versus Max Holloway, and the winner is Max Holloway via split decision. Philippou versus John Duffee, and the winner is John Duffee via TKO. Michael Johnson versus Myles Jury, and the winner is Myles Jury via unanimous decision. The jury is out on this one, folks. Myles Jury was very dominant in all three rounds. Even though, sure, I missed the first round when I first got into where I was at, but I didn't have to see the first round because the first round, the second and the third round looked just like how first round was anyway. Myles Jury was dominant, ground and pounds. Johnson had no answer to anything. He just hung on and just lay there and got pounded, and it was just one of those things that Joe Rogan was criticizing him about, saying he really couldn't. He cannot be sitting around getting pounded. He has to do something and try to advance, even if you're in a victimized or someone's mounting you. You have to at least try to do something defensively and aggressively too. And he wasn't doing that. So Myles Jury got the well-deserved victory on that. And Melvin Guillard versus Jamie Varner, a former, of course, WEC lightweight champion, and the winner is, of course, the former WEC lightweight champion Jamie Varner via split decision. This was definitely a close fight. Melvin Guillard definitely, basically, let's put it like that. An excellent striker like Melvin Guillard got outstruck by Jamie Varner tonight in so many ways. And Jamie Varner even had some takedowns on him a couple times, and then even had him in a lot of trouble. But then, of course, Melvin Guillard had some excellent, powerful leg kicks that really played some differences in slowing down Jamie Varner's offensive tactics. Even though, sure, he still kept it coming, but just imagine if Melvin Guillard did not have the leg kicks, to slow him down. It would have probably been worse off for him. But in any event, though, it was a real back-and-forth battle between those two. And it even got to a point where Melvin Guillard was nearly dropped on his head in the last round. And Melvin, of course, had him tied up where he could have submitted him if he went a few more seconds longer after the third round. But, Melvin, it wasn't Melvin Guillard's night. It was Jamie Varner's instead with a split decision victory. So congratulations on that. And Erik Perez versus Byron Bloodworth, and the winner is Erik Perez via TKO victory. This didn't really take long at all for this victory because Erik Perez just simply went at it and then just kept on. He pressed forward, and that definitely, of course, he kept on striking him a few times, but he finally was able to tie him up against the fence, wore him out. Yeah, even though he did struck him a lot too, but what really was the beginning and the end was when he actually threw that knee right to his sternum and the guy went down, and that's when Erik Perez was pounding him, and then that's when the referee finally stopped the fight. I mean, after that, because I mean, there was just no way. Like I say, he just went down with that vicious knee to the sternum, and the guy was probably gassed out or out of breath when you get. I mean, it's easy to get out of breath when you get kneed in the gut like that, or in the sternum in that area. So there was no way. So congratulations, Erik Perez. And what's so cool about it was that Erik Perez obviously knows about the. I guess because he actually is from Mexico anyway. So in that retrospect, he actually was paying homage to the luchadors of professional wrestling down in Mexico by wearing, luchador mask with him and the people in his team and so forth. So Joe Rogan, of course, said, "Wow, this is my first time actually interviewing an MMA fighter wearing a mask." So it was great, though. I thought it was really cool to pay homage to people like Rey Mysterio and people like that. So excellent, a great respect on Erik Perez's part on that, and congratulations on that excellent TKO victory. So next. Well, okay, this one was not one of my favorite fights, but it still delivered in ways that it still kept it going on the feet as well for the most part. And for the most part, it was Brad Pickett versus Eddie Wineland. And the winner is Eddie Wineland via split decision. Of course, a former WEC bantamweight champ, Eddie Wineland. So being a former champ, I can see why he'd find a way to win via split decision, no less. I mean, it was just one of those things that it just went back and forth. I mean, they were pounding each other. It was just that Eddie Wineland did more and landed more strikes, more sufficient strikes to Brad Pickett, and it was bloody. It wasn't so bloody, but it was really back and forth battle. And like I said, I mean, Brad Pickett just kept it coming forward, even though he was getting pounded plenty of times. He got outstruck. But like I said, in the very end, Eddie Wineland just did just a little bit more. So congratulations on that. And now the beginning of the pay-per-view event, the debut of Derek Brunson from Strikeforce versus Chris Leben, and the winner is Derek Brunson via unanimous decision. I mean, this basically, a lot of people thought that Chris Leben was gonna really walk all over him. But the fact that I saw Derek Bronson's some of his wrestling background, I was like, if Chris Leben gets tied up, he's gonna be in a lot of trouble. And well, behold, Derek Brunson was able to control him. He even tried submission attempts on Chris Leben. He grounded a pot at him, and like I said, and then on top of that, what's so even surprising about it was he even outstruck Chris Leben a few times too on the feet. No less. Not that he started out struck him, he actually had him taken down, smothered him, tired him out, submission attempts, control, all over the place. I mean, he was all over Chris Leben on the back, on the side control, mounts. I mean, my goodness. Seriously. I mean, Derek Brunson really gave Chris Leben a clinic tonight. Not only that, but even when Derek Brunson was gassing out in the second round, it was looking very bad that Chris Leben, but I thought that Chris Leben was finally going to take it. But no, Chris Leben also gassed out too. Wow, what a surprise, right? Chris Leben gassed out, so it was really harder for him to really try to finish him. But once again, with the wrestling, he was able to take him, did some takedowns, wrestle him. On top of that, not only that, but he was able to outstruck him too, standing up even when he was tired. Chris Leben had landed some good punches on him, but he just kept on backing up and then just waited to boom, and just give him some good combinations, 1-2 combinations to Chris Leben. So, any event, excellent debut for Derek Brunson. So, welcome to the UFC, man. You made an impression. I was really impressed. Now, the only thing he has to start doing now is just work more on his cardio, and he'll be better. He'll be way better. Oh my goodness, this guy is a star in the making if he gets his cardio right. So, all right, the next fight is of course Yushin Okami versus Alan Belcher 2. Actually, I guess this was a rematch from when they first made their UFC debut. That Yushin Okami won via unanimous decision. Well, this time was no different. If anything, Yushin Okami came out the winner again this time via unanimous decision. And I didn't see the first fight, obviously, but in the second fight, oh my goodness, let me tell you like this. Yushin Okami, actually Alan Belcher tried to throw nice head kicks and, tried to throw different combinations and so forth, but it was actually Yushin Okami not only was able to get some boxing in, but what really got it going was his ground game. I mean, he had it under control, he grounded and pounded him, he controlled him basically throughout the fight. Even when he put him on the fence, he smothered him. He tired him out. There was a lot of things that Yushin Okami did. It even got to a point where even the referee, which I thought was really stupid, because when Yushin Okami in the second round had him under side control, he was still doing something. Yet the referee just stopped it and stood him up for some stupid reason. And I didn't even get that. But it didn't matter. It didn't really matter because Yushin Okami had him down again and had him controlled. Now, there was in the third round where Yushin Okami in the end made a mistake. He took him down, but he actually took Alan Belcher down on top of him. But Alan Belcher hadn't even much answer even when he was in a mount position, and instead Yushin turned it around and was actually able to get on top of him again and control him again and pound him again. So, and then some people were booing and some people were like, "Oh, this sucks. This is sorry." And some people were like, "Argh." But to me, I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a good fight. Alan Belcher just didn't have a lot of answers to a lot of things. And that's why people booed and because they thought that Yushin Okami just smothered him, didn't really fight him. But that was a technical fight that Yushin Okami needed to win, too. I mean, that's what this is about, too, folks. It's about winning however way you need to do it, strategically or otherwise. So you can't be mad at Yushin Okami for that. So it was an excellent unanimous decision victory, and he's just climbing up again. He's just going to climb up again. And to be honest with you, if he ever does get a rematch with Anderson Silva, remember, in technical sense, he had one victory over Anderson Silva. So if we're going to see him versus Anderson Silva through, which I don't think people are going to be that interested, and I may be looking too far ahead. But let's just say the scenario that happens. It's going to be like, well, he had one victory and the Silva had one victory, but we all knew that it was due to technical disqualifications on Anderson Silva's part. But in any event, Yushin Okami did not look good the last time when he fought Anderson Silva. So let's just see what happens. When we get some new contenders to fight for Anderson Silva. But in any event, congratulations, Yushin Okami. And speaking, of course, of middleweight contenders, Tim Boetsch on his 4-fight winning streak versus Costa Philippou, and another 4-fight winning streak. And the winner is Costa Philippou via TKO victory in the third round. I mean, that's how much it took. It took the three rounds to actually beat up Boetsch. And I mean, it was so bad that of course, first of all, Tim Boesch's right hand, according to Joe Rogan, was broken. That was speculative. But I guess when after Tim Boetsch could barely even throw a nice punch, he was starting throwing elbows instead. So his hand, something was wrong with his hand. And on top of that, Costa Philippou, kept on hitting him with some boxing uppercuts in the jaws and stuff like that. But of course, Tim Boetsch would have taken Philippou down a couple times. Would try to smother him and everything. But what happened was that actually a headbutt actually busted open Tim Boetsch's head, where he was bleeding profusely. Not only that, but he had all these different stitches around his face too, because Costa Philippou just kept on hitting him with hard. And on top of that, when Tim Boetsch tried to take him down, he would biff. I mean, in other words, he biffed the takedowns, and Philippou just kept pounding on him, and he kept busting him up. The blood was going all over the place to such a degree. And also, and then what didn't also help too was the fact that he actually poked Tim Boetsch in the eye, so they had to stop for about about a couple minutes or something like that, and then the fight resumed. But it didn't matter because in the very, very end, Tim Boetsch just had so much blood loss. He was taking so much of a beating that the referee finally stopped the fight. And even though Philippou, and that's just it too, Philippou wasn't all that aggressive going in there. He kept on getting in there, yes,